Hi, how you doing? Welcome back to Smoking Cheltenham. Hope you're good. Hope you had a good weekend and won a little bit. Um, yeah, apologies. Picture quality might not be quite as sharp, but you don't need to see my ugly mug, dear. So good anyway. That's just because it's a bit later on in the day today than normal, and the lighting's not so good in here. Um, yeah, and that's mainly because while I'm normally doing my replays there, watching replays all Sunday evening and making a few notes, I would just I just felt a bit wiped out, to be honest. So I just chilled and watched a bit of telly with the wife. So apologies for all that. Yeah, I do feel quite a lot better than last week. So yeah, I was sorry for that coughing all the way, and that hopefully be a bit better today. Just got the tail end of it now. I just feel a bit wiped out. Yeah, I won't be scoping clean, I don't think, but we should be all right today, I think. Just one thing I forgot to mention on the last video. I just got a bit carried away talking about 6.5 there. I didn't really mention runner up at all Quality. I just meant to say about her. Yeah, a little bit disappointed this season, I guess, on the face of it over hurdles. I do think this girl's going to improve a lot for a fence. I think she's like crying out for fences. She should make a really smart chaser. Quite how high she can go, I don't know. But yeah, I think she'll take her form to a different level when she goes over the fences next year. Okay. Right then, so today really all we're going to be doing as usual, I guess we'll look back on the last week's racing or so, and I'll just give you my thoughts there on that and what it might mean going forward. We'll start with Wednesday at Clonmel. It was soft on the hurdles track. 2 mile, 1 maiden hurdle. Funny Cooley, something like that. Beat High Tack 17 here. Basically just led all the way, jumped well in the main, race clear with Adrogul for much of the race. That rival kind of paid the price, I think, for going with him, and took a tide fall at the last, leaving the winner clear. Yeah, we'll cover these together. There were another maiden on Thursday at Fairyhouse. It was soft there, yielding to soft in places on the hurdles track. And the 2 mile maiden hurdle, Kisswell beat Costiker to 13 lengths. Almost a carbon copy of the race on Wednesday. This fella led all the way, jumped fine really for most of the race. Impressed by Hello Jack down the back, the pair clear. He dropped him on the home straight and kind of just sauntered clear. Made a mess of the last, won as he liked. Yeah, very similar performances these, quite hard to quantify, aren't they? If pressed, I think I'd have a slight preference for Kisswell of the pair. But you're half guessing, aren't you? But yeah, I'd just sort of favour him. There's a listed race, isn't there, at Punchestown 3 or 4 weeks before Cheltenham. Tully Hill, the one Tully Hill won last year. You wonder if one of these might take a chance in that. Maybe Kisswell, and sort of become a contender there for the Supreme. Um, yeah, yeah, they're interesting going forward. Hard to know quite how good they are. Right then. On that same card, that same Fairyhouse card, Fishery Lane took out the 2.5 mile maiden hurdle. He's kind of got a similar profile to Sounds Victorious. They both ran similar sort of races in that bumper. They were both inexperienced at the time. He might just be a shade below Sounds Victorious, I think. But he looks all stamina too, and he could become an interesting contender for the Albert Bartlett, you know. Yeah, it looks like he'll appreciate the 3 mile. I've just got a feeling he's maybe just a shade below, but we'll see. Friday at Windsor we were good to soft in places. Grade 2 2 mile Lightning Novice Chase. Gidley Park beat Caldwell Potter 4 here. Yeah, Gidley Park he led. Caldwell Potter kind of threw down a challenge to him, you know, from 3 out, but couldn't get past. And Gidley Park took again control before the last, ridden out for convincing success, you know. Bounced back from a fibrillating heart problem he had in, I think it was November, December time. November, I think. It's the first time we've seen him since. He's a nice horse, isn't he? He is. His defeat a lucky place at Cheltenham last season reads well now. They could get another run into him and go Arkle, but I've got a feeling Connections may opt for slightly calmer waters of like Aintree, I think, you know, considering he's only just really made his chase debut now. I think they'll look after him a little bit and should be a really nice horse next year. The handicaps would be out. I think Caldwell Potter's rated 148 and he's putting away 4 here, so, you know, I don't think that 2.5 mile handicap would be an option for him really. Caldwell Potter, yeah, I know I sounded a bit unkind about him before, I guess. He's a fair horse, he is. He's just kind of overpriced and overrated, I think. But he could develop into maybe a sort of grade 3, grade 2 type over further, maybe. Or he might just end up a sort of decent handicapper, you know. He's got time yet, but yeah, just overpriced and 148, I think, no. On this card, Salva kind of bounced back well from his bad fall last time and ran a brave race in second in a class 2 2.5 mile hurdle. He's still one to know if he gets this heavy ground, and he's shaping to me like he could be like a stayers horse for future seasons. You know, this year he's only 5, so it'd be a bit much for him this year, I'd have thought, but yeah, sort of next year and the seasons after, yeah, he looks like a type that would get further than the 2.5, and yeah, maybe a stayers horse of the future. But a bit. So we'll go to Saturday at Ascot. The game good to soft in places. A 2 mile juvenile, Lulamba, yeah, beat Mondo Man 3.5 lengths here. Yeah, he was settled in third on the inside. Turning for home, he moved into a challenging position, just kind of eased to the lead between the last two, travelling all over his rivals. He looked good, didn't he? He did. He took the last well and coasted clear on the running. Yeah, the big gamble on this horse looked fully justified here, didn't it? He was impressive, and anyone You know, there might be a few of you out there watching this. If you sat on a double figure ticket for him for the Triumph, you'll be pleased about that. I liked how professional he looked here. You know, he just did everything right. Um, this were 1 mile 7.5 on good, but he were impressive 2 mile 2 on heavy in France. So that augurs well for Cheltenham. You know, he just looks to have everything, doesn't he? He does. The only thing you could say was his main rival here, this Mondo man, never settled at all. You know, as a result, he wasn't able to show his full ability here. But he was giving that horse £10. Yeah, it's mad how things have changed, isn't it? This game. I mean, not so many years ago, you know, this fella'd have been 16s, 20s coming into this. You know, he'd have been cut to around 6s or so after the race, and then maybe supported into 7-2 in the sort of days afterwards. But yeah, different game now, isn't it? 4-1 before the race. I mean, you know, if you want at double figures, fair play, but he'd have been a brave man to take the 4s, I'd have said. But he's 6-4 now, so the 4s don't look so bad. I won't be a rush to take him on. I won't. I think he's maybe the one. It's 6-4 now. You know, I think you get around that price on the day, and there's going to be some others sort of emerge. You know, but yeah, this were good, and I'd say he looks the one to beat at the moment. He does. Two-mile Grade 2 mares hurdle. Take No Chances beat Cargeese 3/4 of a length here. Ubeti another 2.25 back in third. Yeah, Cargeese was settled last early and took a keen hold. On the run to 3 out, she kind of moved into fifth, and turning for home, she travelled strongly into third on the outside. She took 2 out in second, still travelling well, but soon after that, you know, she would pop the question, and she didn't respond as expected, did she? No. You know, Take No Chances took a narrow lead at the last. You know, challenged closely by Cargeese and Ubeti, but she kept on well on the run in to win snugly at the line. In truth, Cargeese never really looked like getting to her, did she? Yeah. Now, Take No Chances. She was rated 139 coming into this. She's 5 from 12. You know, she's fairly exposed, but is sort of steadily improving. And she'd go to the mares with like an each way shout, you'd say. Yeah. This were notable boosts to Woodoo and Joyeuse, who finished in front of her at Cheltenham last time, albeit this mare was conceding weight to them. Yeah, so a little form boost there for Woodoo and Joyeuse. Now, Cargeese, there's 2 ways to look at this, at least, I'd say. I'm not quite sure, to be honest, what I think about this. You know, I did say, didn't I, you know, all season, kind of want to see her do it. She had questions to answer for me in terms of sort of settling well enough to get that trip in a mare's hurdle, and she certainly didn't answer them questions here positively. She was still keen, but I'd say maybe a shade less so than last season. You know, it did a fair job of trying to get her settled, Paul. and she would have been fresh for a reappearance as well, so she may settle again a little better next time. You know, as the seasons developed, her forms looked hotter and hotter, and it did look gold plated, that form coming in here with Masbra and Sergino. She was rated 141 coming into this, and she should stay there, I think. Now, with this run under her belt, I think she'd be real interesting for a county hurdle if that's the way they go. You know, you just look at that form, a length and a half behind Masbra, course distance, 141. You know, she's only 5 and she was conceding race fitness to these. I'd also say I think she'd appreciate a bit more cut underground. I think she'd be a bit better on softer ground. So there's some positives there. There is. You know, you just wonder sometimes these juveniles don't always they have to keep improving, and you just wonder if maybe, you know, if they don't, they find that season when they're 5 quite difficult, don't they? But I'd be a little open-minded. I won't be putting a line through it just yet on the back of this, you know, but those questions still remain, particularly in terms of like getting the trip in a mare's hurdle if that's the way they go. But yeah, personally, I won't be putting a line through it just yet. You know, this were the first one of the season, and yeah, you know, she should come on for this, improve for better ground, and settle a little better next time. Again, like, you know. The 2 mile, 1 grade 1 Clarence House, John Bon beat Enigmine 6.5 here. Yeah, this was good, weren't it? Not much to say about the race, really. John Bon led, trapped by Enigmine. I'd say, although John Bon jumped well, you know, in the main, Enigmine were a little slicker and quicker through the air. John Bon kind of pressed on the run to 2 out. Enigmine just didn't have the legs to go with him, and John Bon just kind of drew steadily further and further clear all the way to the line. Some horse, this fella, he is, you know, you got to give him credit. He's 17 from 20 under rules, 9 grade 1s. That's some record, that, you know. Not much else to say what hasn't been said about this fella. We've kind of said all season, haven't we? He's not quite the same horse at Cheltenham as elsewhere. You know, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that. You know, but he's still capable of running to a high level of form, you know, in the champion chase, and to a level of form that would be high enough to claim a champion chase, you know, just depending what else is in the race. Like I say, when you look at the past history, you know, like dodging bullets and Captain Guinness last time, you know, you can't just say, oh, John Bon don't like Cheltenham, he can't win, because if he win those races, I think he'd have won them, you know. So, you know, he goes there with his chance, he does. He's kind of solid, isn't he? But kind of vulnerable at the same time, you know. I'd say he's vulnerable to a Gaelic warrior, and the softer the ground, the more vulnerable he'd be to that rival, I think. Enigmine, he's 11 now, isn't he? He ran well, he did. I liked his jumping here, you know, he was fast and slick. He's a proper 2 miler. I mean, you know, you got to give credit to this fella as well. You know, he's twice a champion chase winner. More than likely, it'd have been a 3-time champion chase winner, you know, if he'd have avoided injury last season. And in them champion chases, he's been fantastic. You know, I think he is a little kind of underrated. Maybe both these horses are. Um, but he's 11 now, and he's not the same Energumene that ran Shishkin so close here in that Titanic duel way a few years back. He'd have to get lucky in a champion chase, I think, but you got to be in it to win it, haven't you? And he has the chance to become a triple champion chase winner, so I'd imagine all being well, he'll be given that chance. So this were a good result for John Bon. I'd say it were a good result as well for Gaelic Warrior if you're a fan of his. He's still kind of my fancy. The betting would suggest that too. He did shorten up a little after this. I think he'll get it done, Gaelic Warrior, in Dublin. I do. I know he's not in love with Leopardstown, but just based on that last run, I just think there's so much improvement to come on that. Any more ease in the ground will be to his benefit. I think he's going to put in, a decent enough performance and get it done in Dublin and book his ticket here. Yeah. You do just... We could do with El Fabiolo coming back. We could do with Will having like a big Ryanair contender, But I think, whereas Energumene, I think they'd be going there thinking we got to get a little lucky, this fella, I think they'd be going there thinking they can get it done, or they'd have a cracking chance anyway. Like I say, the softer the better, and as long as he comes through Dublin all right, I think Paul will be on him. We'll see. Right, Navan, it was soft. There were some interesting races on this card. There were 2 mile novice hurdle, James's Gate beat Say to Chance 3/4 of a length. Pardon me, Tap on the Go, another 3 1/4 length back in third. Ballygunner Castle led here. James's Gate settled last. Just bided his time. 6 out and 5 out. James's Gate, he was noticeably slick, His jumping took him into third at those flights, but then he kind of reined back to being a kind of 3-way go for last place, On the approach to 2 out, James's Gate were going noticeably well, and he was switched to the inside of Ballygunner Castle. He just cruised into the lead, travelling all over his rivals between the last two. But he made a terrible mistake at the last, lucky to get away with that. And that allowed Say to Chance to briefly head him on the run-in. He was soon back in control though and won this very cosy. Now, I think last week I mentioned I'd got that one bet and the winner there, so I don't mind admitting in the interest of balance I only had one bet this week and it lost it with this guy, Ballygunner Castle. So I got this wrong, Ballygunner Castle, he's going to be better out in trip. Just might be next season's horse. It didn't look the same horse to me that we saw last time. These horses can get a bit weak sometimes in the novice season. I just wonder if maybe, he might be one just to leave alone till next year, but he'll certainly improve for stepping up in trip, Funny, from the first day we saw him in that 2 mile maiden, he's kind of looked like a 3 miler to me, James's Gate, he were very impressive here, I thought, Bar the last, he jumped great here. He was the best he'd ever jumped. Quote after this, he's a very sound horse and easy to train. Really? He's an 8-year-old and he's had 7, career starts. He had nearly 2 years off the track. You know, he went on to say he's going to get an entry in the Cowell Cup. We've been beaten twice narrowly in that, and we might also enter him for one of the novices. We said last time, didn't I, this fella, keep an eye on him for the Cowell Cup. I just love his profile on paper for that. He's rated 127. Tap on the Go's got a rating. He were rated 127 also. He's beating 4 length here. Maybe up to 133, something like that. He's a better horse than 133. He is, this fella, I think. He needs one more run now to get to that Cowell Cup. You know, get a bit Irish tax. If he gets in there off like 141, I'd like him for that, I would. I must admit, after the race I threw a bit of change on him, but the price got clipped a bit, and I can't put him up here because he's risky. You know, he could also get a Ballymore entry as well. But for me, this is a graded horse who's going to be rated around 133, you know. It's just quite a tight timeline to get that other run into him. Like last year he'd have been fine, but they messed about with these races, haven't they? And he does need that one more run. You'd like to give him, you know, 4 weeks between his last run and Cheltenham, so it's going to be pretty tight to get that other run into him. So, you know, hence the Ballymore is an option, or even the Supreme, like, you know. But yeah, I think this horse is better at 2.5 as well, you know. I do like him. I really like this horse, I do. The other sort of Cowell Cup horse I'll just give a quick mention to, he's got Martin Brazel, and, you know, these more Ryan colours, his best years yet. He got him from France. He had 3 runs in France, and he's had 2 for Martin Brazel. In those 2 runs, he's got beat 95 lengths. But he's had 5 runs over hurdles, and he's got a rating of 138. So he's got everything there, like, you know. He could suddenly improve in a handicap, that horse. Yeah, a few other races I'll just give mention to. Jacob's Ladder narrowly got the better of 40 Coats in the 2.5 mile maiden. He could develop into an Albert Bartlett horse, this, he could. You know, he looks all over a stayer. I think he'd love the 3 mile. He does at times. I thought he looked a little raw still, and he might just need another year, you know, to be seen to his best. That test could be, yeah, you know what I mean. It's just a bit rough in Albert Bartlett, maybe though. It'd be a contender anyway. It'd be an interesting contender if he rocked up there. Worth noting, on his last run he was 5th to 17, beat 28 length by work ahead, and the 3rd horse beat 20 length by work ahead was Spring de la Mer, who came out and won a mare's beginners over 3 mile. You know, Jacob's Ladder were hampered, I think 3 out, so would have been better than the Bear result there. And he's improved for another 1/2 mile, and obviously, you know, Spring de la Mer's gone over fences to 3, but still that form's kind of stacking up nicely, isn't it, for work ahead there. I want to give a horse a mention too in the Navan handicap hurdle, won by Music of Tara. Raglan Road. Yeah, I think he's one to know. You know, I've always had half an eye on him. Yeah, I did last year, and he won on handicap debut, and I missed it because it were like a few days before Cheltenham, and I just head in Cheltenham and missed it. I kicked myself for that a little at the time. Then he went on to Fairy House up to 3 Mile and pulled up there. This was his seasonal return, and resources haven't been running the best, have they? It was settled towards the rear, widest of all. He were asked for his effort on the turn for home when the pace were its hottest, and he came right round the houses like he were in the car park there coming round the bend. He stayed on nicely enough, and he got beat just at 8 here. He can do better next time. Maybe not Cheltenham, but there's Aintree, Fairy House, Punchestown, one of them festivals. It'd be interesting, I'd say. Possibly up to 3 Mile, I think, in a handicap hurdle. A horse I don't know much about, but just watching the replay, he'd have to take the eye with this Any Road. He looked to be swinging over everything here after kind of stylishly making ground into the race, but found absolutely nothing. You just wonder watching this, you'd think, well, he needs dropping to 2 Mile. I don't know, maybe he's just a bit of a pig, I don't know. Because it's the only time I've really paid attention to this horse. I'd have to watch some of his other races, but just on the face of it, watching this, you'd think he'd be interesting drop to 2, But yeah, certainly Raglan Road anyway it's I think a name to note from that race. Yeah, another just eye catchers in some of these races. 3 Cod Drag, he finally shed his maiden tag over fences in the 3 Mile beginners and reportedly goes straight to the national now. He's rated 147. Yeah, he'd be an interesting contender, I'd suggest, in that race. It's going to be interesting to see what the handicapper does here, because there were 5 horses or so that finished sort of less than 5 lengths behind him, had nothing like his rating. And one of them in particular, just took the eye here, it did. Yeah, now is the hour, for Gavin. Interesting ride, this, I'd suggest. Set off a few behind the field. Jumped and travelled great, He kept sort of drifting back through the field. He looked dangerous coming to 2 out, but he got in nice and close to 2 out and the last, which kind of checked his momentum there. And he managed to get him beat just the 4 in the end. Maybe he got a bit closer than he'd have liked. He were rated 125 coming into this. Like I say, what with a winner? 147, weren't he? He won a rollover hurdles last season. He slammed a horse called Don't Rightly Know by 17 lengths in a grade 2 on heavy at Haydock. Strangely after that, really, he didn't go for another hurdle race. He sent him to a 2 Mile beginner's chase the month after, and then just put him away. Now, he never got a mark over hurdles, but the horse he beat 17 lengths, giving £7 to, is now rated 127 over fences. This fella's rated 125. Well, now he's been beat 48 lengths by the Atlantic and 37 by Shannon Royal. This were much more like it. yeah, the handicap has got a bit of an headache here. The second were Kinte Kalanisi. I think he beat a length and a half or something. He's rated 127. You know, so in relation to that horse, he's ran up to about that 125. I don't know. I think the handicapper might just kind of take a bit of middle ground here and bang him up 10 or so, like, you know. But that still only puts him on 135, you know. He's very interesting. I thought, been saying all season, I thought Gavin would have something for that 3 mile 6 novice handicap at Cheltenham. I just weren't sure what, and it could well be this fella. You know, I mean, he won 3 mile heavy at ADOC, so stays very well, doesn't he? So, as per usual with this sort of thing, you do your digging and you get quite excited. Then you look at the prices and he's 10 to 1. You know, he's 10 to 1 second favourite or something for that race, you know. So, yeah, you've got to be, I don't know. You think you're on top of it all and you're miles behind, aren't you? You know. He could be a Kim Muir horse as well, though. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have thought last year when Gavin sent into that 2 miles beginner, he wouldn't have known about this new race. So he could be Kim Muir or the 3 mile 6. He's top price 20s for the Kim Muir. But whatever, you know, he's an horse to keep an eye on and suggest, and he's firmly shortlisted for those races anyway. Yeah. Bit more coffee. Just get a quick mention to Spinning a Yarn. Just really impressed with his attitude. Like, showed real brave battling qualities, you know, to narrowly take out the bumper. It looked an interesting bumper on paper. He could go to Cheltenham. Wouldn't really have him on my mind, I don't think, for winning there, but he just looks a really nice sort. You know, he should make a nice stayer next year, and he could even make up into like an Albert Bartlett type or something next season. Yeah, just displayed a really sort of cracking attitude. He'll win his share of races, that horse. Alright then, and then Sunday, Windsor. Yeah, I didn't go into much depth on these races, you know. I'll give my thoughts on them. We had, Sunday, Windsor, it was soft, good to soft in places. 2 mile mares novice Jubilee Alpha beat Bluey a length and 3/4 here, you know. She's a mare's novice hurdle contender, you know, she'll go there with a chance. You couldn't be putting a line through her. Personally, though, you know, Diva Luna put her away well in the Grade 2 bumper at Aintree, and she's progressing away nicely herself, you know, and Diva Luna has the course form there. You know, this girl's 8s, Diva Luna's 14s. You know, of the two, she's nearly double the price, Diva Luna. She looks overpriced to me, I'd say, for this race, Diva Luna, and she looks like a bit of value here. However, you know, we were talking about 6.5 last week. I really do like 6.5, and I've spent plenty of this week wondering if you should press up on this horse, you know, and just go for it and make her a main bet. I just liked everything about it. She's going to take some beating, you know. I think it'd take something special to beat this 6.5. I do. The 7s has gone now. She's top price 6s, and that's only in one place at 365. It's just this Maureen, you know. I think it'll take something special to beat her. That something special could be Maureen, you know. it's just the price, isn't it? You know, she's had a bit of abuse, I think, this horse. But it's not her fault. She were putting at 5-1. Just looking at her form a little bit, this Maureen, from a bumper. The third horse, the Lord Maid, were beat nearly 12 lengths. She gave her £7. That horse is now rated 126. The fourth horse, Mahu or something, is rated 119 now. She beat that 15, giving 7, So there's some substance to that form, The 7 had put her on a, say, 133. And then she's beat that horse 11. It all suggests she's like a 140s mare, so it's not just hype, The form stacks up, and she was so impressive the way she did it. She gave age and weight there. She's one to respect, she is, but we haven't seen her yet, have we? But it's hard to know. Because, I was thinking, well, do you back her before she runs when you see her declared? You could maybe have a couple of points on her then. The thing is, she's going to get declared, isn't she? And then between that and her running, she'll be kind of backed into 7-2 or something like, And then if she wins, she's going to be 6-4, isn't she? So you don't really want to back her before she runs, but you're not going to get the price after she runs, like, So I did just wonder, should we just take the chance and have another few points on the 6.5 and leave it at that, that race. But we've got it covered at 7s. I'm not quite sure yet. I'd say Maureen's the only horse I fear though, because I think it will take something special to beat this 6.5. I liked everything about that. She's going to stay well up that hill. I like that toughness she's got from the flat. She's used to big fields, handicaps, the rough and tumble of it all. She'll be fine, and I liked how she responded when he shook him up. You can see at the bottom of the hill, just ask her and she'll be there, and she looks tough. She'll take some whacking, I think. Yeah, I do. But yeah, anyway, rambling here, aren't I? Elsewhere on the card, Matata, I'd say improved plenty for JJ Slevin here. Yeah, he managed to ride him with a bit more restraint than usually the case, and he smashed this field up off 155. The field may not have been trying so much, second unexpected party who, Dan's clearly trying to get him there to the Grand Annual again with his best chance. But, this was still impressive. Like I say, I'd say improved plenty for JJ here. He deserves his shot at a champion chase. And we've had stranger results there. We have, he can throw up funny results, that race. Deserves his shot at it. Protectorate produced a dominant display here to take out the 2 mile 6 Class 2 Fleur de Lis, B23. He's been a great servant, hasn't he? He's 10 now, but looked as good as ever here, I'd say whatever beats him in the Ryanair will know it's been in a race, be a great sort of place pot horse, and he goes there with his chance. He does. He's 10 and tend to be against them, but you can't see him out of the frame. Performance of the week then. Um, yeah, look, I gave this John Bond, grade 1, big clash with Enigmine, and he slammed him here really, 17 out of 20 under rules, 9 grade 1s. He's a class act, this fella, he is. Number 2, I gave to Protectorate. I did, I was really impressed here. I thought he was fantastic. This looked as good as ever, and yeah, he won't be giving his Ryanair crown away easy. Whatever beats him will know it's been in a race. Number 3, I just get a little Amber here. Yeah, just a bit of wow about this, I suppose, weren't they? They were. Just did everything right, yeah, looked as good as the money said he would here. And yeah, he's rightly probably sits at the top of the Triumph hurdle betting. Honourable mentions for Matata and James's Gate, and I wouldn't argue if anyone wanted to chuck them in the 3 there. Bit of news, upcoming stuff. Thyestes this week, isn't it? It's Cheltenham's trials meeting, and then the week after the DRF. So this is an exciting couple of weeks. It is. We're going to learn plenty. Some markets may turn upside down a little. It's we're going to learn a lot. Big news for me really. Constitutional. He's going for this international this weekend. In my mind, that improves his chances. It does in the champion, yeah, it surprised me. If you remember, I said I thought, he just let him down and build him back up again. But the fact he's coming here suggests to me he's finding him easier to train and he's in a good place. So yeah, I'd say his chances have gone up in my estimations, on the back of this news. There's only one horse declared against him at the moment, and that's Lossiemouth. Not heard anything from Willie just yet on if she's likely to come over or not. I kind of hope she does. We need her to come over to make it a race, because it's really not a race without her in it. It's as good as it'll be though to see Constitutional again. He's just gonna have a jog around here if she's not here. But it will be nice to see him again. If she does come across, I think she'll give him a race. I'd expect to get a much better race than she did last time, and she only beat the 2.5. Cheltenham will suit her better, and I think that experience will stand to her. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, won't it, if she did come across. And if she does, it's kind of all on the line there really. Well, for Lossiemouth, in terms of Cheltenham targets, if Constitutional sort of slammed her here, she goes mares, particularly after Cargeese, disappointing. But I'd expect she'll give him a big run here, I do. And in that case, she'd be going champion, even if she went narrowly down, or she just gets the better of him. Yeah, it'd be good anyway. I hope we get to see that, but we might not, so I won't get too excited just yet. And that's about it then, yeah, so no bets today. The closest I came really is just making 6.5 a main bet for that race. She's going to have a big chance in that race. She is. Takes something special to beat her. It's just one horse for me that could be special, but I'm tempted to make her up to like 5 points or something. So, anyway, I hope that were right for you. Got through this video a little bit better. Yeah, thanks for all your time. This week, I'm not going to be able to get on Friday again, so it'll be next Monday. And I'm looking for the DRF. I thought I've got to do like a video for the DRF. It's going to be kind of late Friday, so that'll be dropping sort of Friday 9ish or something like that, you know. Yeah, it'd be good, that DRF round it. I know the horse I mentioned at 3-1. We've got a little bit of that. That's been well supported now. I think he's 7-4. Ballygunner Castle, just rambling now, aren't I? Yeah, Ballygunner Castle, we can strike off that list, can't we, for the Ballymore? So I think we're down to Kopek de Boards for Willie, and Final Demand, yeah, the horse at 3's that's got well supported now. I think it'll be one of those two. I think if Kopek de Boards wins, as I mentioned, we have in Salvador Monday there, you know, he's got a Moscow Flyer winner, the Grade 1 Dublin winner. I think Paul will want to ride both horses. I think Monday would have to go Supreme, so even though he's not gone 2.5 yet, I know Kopek de Boards were described as a stayer, be like Patrick and Willie, I think, at the beginning of the season, so you'd have no bother with the 2.5. I think that's the way to go. If Kay Doherty gets it done and Final Demand wins, then I think Final Demand could just drop down slightly and become like the big Ballymore horse there. I did throw a bit of change at that double, you know, Kay Doherty 14s and Final Demand 20s. I just had a bit of change on it, but it's a nice double there. It's just a possibility anyway. So there you go, little bonus ramble at the end there anyway. But yeah, thanks for your time then. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon. Alright, all the best. Bye.